Well, it's a pleasure to have Dave Brat on the program. Professor, how are you doing, sir?
Doing great, Mark. Thanks for having me on.
First of all, we've had you on before, but I want you to introduce yourself since people come and go on any broadcast medium. Tell people a little bit about yourself and why you decided to run in a Republican primary against Eric Cantor, given that it's such an uphill battle. Why did you decide to do that?
Yeah, well, I'm a PhD in economics. I went to Princeton Seminary prior to that, believe in all the founding documents, our Constitution, and basically the main driver was the financial crisis, and this country was on its knees. It still is on its knees. Our labor markets have not healed themselves at all yet. And after the financial crisis, I thought certainly our elected officials would learn some lessons, and we haven't. We haven't learned one lesson. And Eric Cantor, after the financial crisis, has this Stock Act is moving through to end insider trading based on congressional knowledge. And Eric Cantor changes the language of that to allow spouses and family members to continue insider trading based on congressional knowledge. And that's just...
Whoa. Slow down. First I've heard this. So basically there was an ethics reform bill coming through. Peter Schweitzer, I know, has written a great book on all this, how these guys... line their pockets and change the rules to help themselves and their families. So one's going through, and he alters it to enable family members to take advantage of inside information?
Right. And Wall Street love that. Hedge funds love that. And they've enriched themselves on that. And so then you start investigating what's going on, and you dig deeper and deeper and deeper, and you find out that the crony capitalists are not representing the people at all. And that leads up to the last couple of weeks. Eric Cantor has been lying over and over. He says, I'm a liberal economist that worked for Tim Kaine, was his economic advisor in mailers. All of that's totally false. And then now he's putting out mailers saying he's the chief investigator on Benghazi. All that's false. He's changed that in the last 2 weeks. And now the biggest lie of all is he's changing his position on amnesty. He is the architect in the House, working with the Chamber of Commerce, working with Obama, to make it okay for anyone under 30 to gain legal status and citizenship, and he linked that into the defense authorization bill a couple weeks ago. He's turned on that. Now he has Congressman Gutierrez from Illinois show up in Richmond at the Capitol yesterday.
And hold on a second. And Gutierrez is this radical, and they're friends.
Right.
And they went around the country together promoting this change in our immigration laws, and now Gutierrez is there protesting him. Really, this is confusing a lot of the electorate, isn't it? Isn't that the point?
Yeah, that's the point. And so, they've worked together for the past year, so it's quite a coincidence that Eric Cantor changes his entire position on amnesty 2 weeks before the primary, when I'm picking up major traction. People are finding out about the lies in the previous mailers, and now he is forced to change his position on amnesty, and he's against it, but he says he's still for the principles. And so no one knows where he stands, and it's fairly clear he brought Congressman Gutierrez into town as a foil so that he could act like, hey, I'm against amnesty, but we held a joint press conference prior to Gutierrez showing up and exposed what was going on, and it's front-page drudge, it's nationwide news, because the truth is finally coming out.
Now, in terms of finances, he is beating the hell out of you with these endless ads. He's got like a 40-50 to 1 advantage on you, doesn't he?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, and that's the hard part to overcome. But the grassroots across Virginia is backing me, and we are spreading the word the old-fashioned way with shoe leather, and it's spreading like wildfire. And they're scared, and they wanted to ignore me at first, but now we had a convention 3 weeks ago, and we threw out his number 2 lieutenant. And I won the straw poll for 1,200 activists, 70% to 30% in that room of conservative activists. And so I don't want to confuse the listeners anymore, but Eric Cantor's been going around the country with a young gun pack and his Eric pack. Every Republican is crucial, except for the ones he's slating all across the Commonwealth and across the country. He's knocking Tea Party people, grassroots, libertarians out of the Republican leadership statewide. It's been widely reported on the bullelephant.com. Folks can go check that out.
And he's installing his own cronies.
Yeah, and installing his own cronies, right. And it's all funded by the chamber. Basically, you can predict Eric Cantor's vote on any single bill. Just follow what the chamber wants. Obamacare, big business gets exempted. Amnesty, big business gets cheap labor. That's the key thing. They want cheap labor. And then who picks up the tab for all the unintended consequences? The Washington Times today has an unbelievable story due to the Dreamer Act, which sounds, like a liberal emotional twist for the kids. Sounds like a good idea on first blush. But now kids are flocking over the border without their parents.
I just reported on that story, and the propaganda, the comments, the demagoguery coming out of the establishment, whether they be Democrats or Republicans, obviously is heard all around the world. And so parents are sending their kids through all these dangerous countries and cities and situations to get into the United States illegally because Eric Cantor, among others, is trying to figure out how to get them on a pathway to citizenship.
Right. No, that's right. And so then the key, the people are figuring out, and the key to this is who is he representing? And so he's turned his back on the constituents of Virginia and the country because it's national law. Yeah,
but what he's doing now, Professor, is he's trying to win this nomination in the district where you're running against him by putting forward false positions. His are false and falsely characterizing who you are, isn't he?
Right. No, that's absolutely true. And he put out another ad yesterday. I said I want to lower the rate of increase in Social Security and Medicare, and he put out a 4-page glossy saying I want to get rid of and cut Social Security, Medicare, send it out to all the seniors across the state. I took a quote out of context, and he's got the money to do it and get away with it. And so I would plead with all the listeners to support DaveBratForCongress.com and do what you can because the country's at stake.
Mr. Producer, let's put that website up on my social sites. Dave Brat, B-R-A-T, for Congress.com, Dave Brat for Congress.com. Look, I'm going to state the obvious. With a name like that, you've been pushed around and you've had to fight back, haven't you?
That's right. And so I don't mind doing it. I put on the planet for a reason. I went to seminary, and I really do believe with James Madison, who also went to Princeton Seminary, it's called the College of Jersey back then, but our founding principles are at stake. And the founders could never have envisioned this crony capitalist state we have right now that's just run purely by big money. And the incumbents win every time because they can just smear opponents with false advertising and tell lies. He's calling me a liberal professor, da-da-da-da-da. I've been a free market, Milton Friedman economist my whole life.
Wait a minute. He calls you a liberal professor who wants to cut Social Security?
Yeah, well, they're in a bind, right? Because the first day I announced, they came out with their advertising attack on me, calling me a liberal professor, and now they're, on the other hand, they're calling me a Tea Party guy. And my local press, the Richmond Times-Dispatch, will not report the news. I've asked them many times, will you please just report I'm running on the Republican creed? I'm running as a Republican. Every stump speech, which is out on my web for everyone to view, goes through those 6 principles. And there's only one problem with a Republican creed, and that's no Republican follows it. It starts off with free markets and then goes into equal protection under the law, fiscal responsibility, constitutional restraint, strong military, and belief in God.
Wow, how controversial.
Yeah,
let me ask you this. So, Professor, you're not getting a break from the big lib media in the Richmond area, are you?
No, and the irony there is they have a creed of their own, and it's actually fairly conservative and Kantian. And they say they're committed to telling the truth and being transparent, et cetera, et cetera. And I've asked them just to follow their own principles, and they won't do that.
And they're not gonna because they know you're the conservative in the race. They know he's not.
Right. No, that's what's going on, right? And the advertising is all linked. It's a monopoly. The cronies go across the board. Big business, media, politics. It's one big.
So, but let me ask you this: so you need at least enough money in the waning days of this campaign, the primaries June 10th, to be able to put something up on television, right? So, are you husbanding resources for that, or you just need more to do it?
No, we need a lot more. We have a TV campaign coming up in the last week or so. We have radio, letters going out, and all that in the last couple of weeks right now. But, we need massive financial support to match the financial resources of Cantor, who's got limitless funds.
And that's what these guys do in Washington. They are bought and paid for by these interests. They go home, they overwhelm their opponents, they bring in these Washington consultants to overwhelm guys like you, a citizen candidate who's standing up to try and save the country. They twist your record, they twist his record. And then if they win, they're paraded around Washington, D.C. with the usual pseudo-conservative mouthpieces, praising them for how brilliant they are. And here we are, still stuck in the mud.
Yeah, well, and there's independent sources, right? Eric Cantor has about a 53 score. That's an F. with a Heritage Foundation. He's voted for the Farm Bill, the Export-Import Bank, the flood insurance bill. I mean, I don't think they know what free markets are, right? I mean, Fannie and Freddie did 2/3 of all subprime mortgages, put the bankers out of work, and drove our country into a ditch, and that's why I wanted to run. We haven't learned one lesson. Those institutions are still in place. The enumerated powers of the federal government are absolutely ignored. No one knows what the 10th Amendment is.
Now, anybody listening to you on this program, anybody listening to you when you do your town halls, when you do your stump speeches, when you put out literature, when you have the money to do it, knows that you're not a liberal, that you're a Reagan conservative, and yet to spend all this money on these commercials and these mailings claiming you're a Tim Kaine liberal, the former liberal, big spending, big taxing governor of Virginia. What else do you need to know other than the guys deceiving about your record?
Well, and that's right. Every time I get in front of people, everyone's flipping, and that's why the Kainer campaign is more than concerned right now, right? You can measure the concern by the amount of flyers they're sending out per day. They send another 4-page glossy out every day with another lie and distortion every single day.
What makes you think, we're running out of time, that you're, by the way, I'm talking to David Brat, and your website again? Yeah,
Dave Brat, B-R-A-T, Congress.com. And folks can go out to my media page and see the massive national press coverage we've had since January, and my stump speeches, the principles I believe in, and my track record, my background. I went to Princeton Seminary, then got a Ph.D. in economics.
But, I mean, the point is you're not hiding your record. You're not hiding your principles. You're not hiding your policies and your positions. You don't have to spend millions of dollars to do a makeover of yourself or Cantor.
Right. No, that's right. Right.
Yeah,
Eric actually did a makeover, right? He was in Vanity Fair doing a makeover on this make the country
well, it
work.
Didn't work. Let me tell you, that's my opinion.
Yep.
Well, I hope the grassroots really is activated. Look, this is still an uphill fight.
Yeah.
And I know you're fighting it as an uphill fight. It's still an uphill fight, but every now and then the good guys win. Every now and then the little guy beats the big guy. And that's what we're hoping in this case, if the nation will give you a little bit of assistance here.
Yeah, well, thank you very much for your help, Mark. I got a nice little quote on my door to my office every day. It says, with man, things may be impossible. With God, all things are possible. So I think I'll end on that note.
All right, and I'll end with God bless you and good luck.
God bless you as well. Thank you, Mark.
All right. That's Dave Brat, B-R-A-T, Congress.com, did he say, Mr. Producer? It's on my Facebook. It's on my Twitter. In my humble opinion, if you have a few bucks, they give the guy some help because he needs it, and he'd be a great member of Congress. It's an uphill fight, but that's what we do. We fight these uphill fights, don't we?